Nazi fags, Jews, and nigger. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. President Trump and the demagogues around the world. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. We choose truth over facts. I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. Minnesota!
With Crowder Ranger panties. CrowderScope.com.
I just made $200.
How?
People pay for that. People pay for sounds.
Oh, whatever.
Crinkling a Ruffles bag, eating a Whopper. I found out about this. The internet is a dangerous, dark, and scary place. Glad to be with you. We have a lot to get to here today. We say that every day, but we really do. It's like drinking from a fire hose. People say, "Oh, it's an off election year." Well, you know what? It's not an off Earth year. So there's still stuff to talk about.
We're still terrible people.
Let me lead this right away. There will be Nazi comparisons today. Now, it's not like Gerald yesterday for Mug Club members he was just throwing out 7 different kinds of Nazi comparisons to win an argument.
Nope.
It's there's an appropriate. What were you going to say?
He just said Hitler. Just throw it in every once in a while. And,
yeah.
Oh, crap.
There's an appropriate time to make it. There's an appropriate time to draw comparisons. And if we act as though there never is, well, then what's the point of history, right? We have to learn from history. And a big part of that comes from othering people. A big part of that comes from eliminating voices of dissent. So we're not making any comparisons today as it relates to gassing the Jews, which, of course, everyone here condemns. Horrible. Just right. We always have to say that just to make sure. Mel Gibson's voicemail, bad. But trusting the science is something we'll talk about. How have we come to this point? How have we come to the point where we see what's going on in Canada, in Australia, here in the United States? How did we get here? And it all started with trusting the science and the danger of the science being synonymous with the government science. And we're going to follow that trail down to where we are today. It's pretty scary, and it does mirror almost to the letter what happened in Nazi Germany in the way that they use the science and they use communicable diseases to try and other citizens. Not saying that you're Jews who are going to be rounded up to Zyklon B showers. I'm just saying that this is how the march happens. And I don't think it's an inappropriate comparison when we're dealing with Canada and Australia at this point. Oh, yeah, forced quarantine camps.
What could go wrong there?
I mean, that would have been an Alex Jones conspiracy that would have gotten him in trouble maybe 2 months ago. I've seen the FEMA camps. People are like, oh, come on, crazy.
This guy.
And then they're just watching Sky News. They're like, oh, yeah, the FEMA camps.
Well, shit.
Yeah. Well, shoot. So my question to you before we move on, and this is an important question of the day, really is, why do you think that our leaders, and by our leaders I mean leaders in some nebulous sense, care so much about Ukrainian democracy and not about Canadian democracy? Let me rephrase it, because Ukrainian, Canadian sound the same. Different places, different continents. Why do you think they're making such a big deal about Ukrainian democracy? Of course, there's a good reason, right, to go to war. And not about Canadian democracy. I think it's an important distinction to make. But if this show is not on YouTube. If you don't see us on YouTube, if ever you go, hey, where's the show? We are here Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, and of course it's available on Rumble and on Mug Club, a full hour show. The best place to watch is Mug Club, ladderwithcutter.com/Mug Club. But the free show, for those of you who are still on the fence, you can watch it at Rumble. Nothing would make me happier than to see you switch over from YouTube to Rumble, but here we are. Before we move on, Gerald, how are you?
I am doing well. The Nazi comparisons I used, by the way, were very fitting, and I won the argument.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, you were getting fitted for a nice Hugo Boss SS uniform.
Well, they were classy uniforms. Nobody argues that.
Nobody has a problem with it.
How are you?
Yeah,
Did you
nobody
sleep
ever
well?
said they weren't stylish.
No, even the Allies showed up. They were like, wow, those are impressive.
I mean, I hate to. Can you do this so I can shoot you and keep the coat?
Yeah,
mean-
exactly. I mean, I don't so much want to collect the Lugers. I want to collect the peacoats.
Gosh, those
Hogan's
things are
Heroes largely based on the likability of the Nazi uniform.
Also,
Pretty much.
the inspiration for every Harley Davidson motorcycle half Nazi helmet that came afterward.
That's true.
When you see people down, it's like, oh, well, you literally put the horn on it. Either you're that little guy from Labyrinth, or you're half SS.
Yes.
When you're riding down the freeway. I'm okay. I drank a little bit of wine last night because it was my mother's birthday, and I'm in a very, like, half a glass. It always gives me a headache. Anyone else? Does that happen to you guys? Like, beer, I'm fine, but wine, for some reason, doesn't, I don't do well with it.
Well, I
Yeah,
spiked
every
it.
time I drank, I got a headache.
Well, yeah.
Dave's
more of a
like, I didn't have a
quantity issue.
little bit of wine. I had a fifth. They don't come in fifths.
I don't know how Christ did it, but you know what? He's perfect, not me. Also, here is, you know him, you love him, and I will be on tour with him. You can go to loudwithcrowder.com/tour. May 14th, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's a big venue. Tickets are selling quickly. Dave Landau, how are you, sir?
Ahoy, how about you?
I'm fine, except Joe Lewis. Hey, come on. Go back to
Get
your bed.
back over there.
This is the problem with when you give him treats out there. Now he's going over to Dave.
I don't want to pet him, but to tell him this is good, but I want to pet him because I love him.
Joe Lewis is working.
Tough love, Dave.
He's
Yeah.
working everybody in the room because of the storm. And
Yeah.
so this morning, I wake up at like 3, which is an hour earlier than I usually get up, and I just hear he's ramming his head into the door. You can see there's a little bit of blood on the top of his head.
What?
Oh,
Really?
there is.
Yeah, just from ramming the door
Oh, wow.
Joe.
to try and get in.
Because of the storm?
Yeah.
But this thing will
He's
go.
not even afraid of the storm. He was just working the room.
Dogs, they're not fans of
Joe Lewis, I have to
Joe,
move on
gotta
and
lay
talk
down.
about Cardi B and Nazis.
Come on, buddy.
He
Joe
doesn't
Lewis,
want
over
that.
here.
Nobody
Place.
wants that.
Place.
Joe Lewis, place. Come on, buddy.
Good dog.
One of these days, he's just going to knock over the camera and be like, yeah, how do you like that place?
All right, there we go.
He's just going to be sitting in Steven's seat at the
Yes.
show with the earphones.
Screw you.
Just roar, roar.
Just slurping from his bowl.
Did I do it right?
Join Bowl Club.
Room's just decapitated people.
We have to do bowl club for people with dogs.
Yeah,
I love it.
why
That
didn't we
is
just-
absolutely perfect.
You just made $1 million idea.
Perfect.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but it has been said in a new focus group by Nielsen that 40% of pets watch television. If you'll notice, that's why we have more like bones. Sometimes we'll have a piece of yarn. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
My dog does, but it's mostly very violent movies about dogs.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Strange.
I don't know why your dog loves the ending to Marley and Me.
It's weird.
It almost seems he's
He doesn't clap because he can't, but he puts his paws together.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Just like that golden retriever dead.
By the way, I meant to talk to you about that. I think your dog might be possessed.
Yeah,
That's
that's
possible.
true. If he tells you to kill anybody, don't listen.
He does fly.
Yeah. Well, Davey Berkowitz, he was so good with the dog. All right. Here's something else that we have to talk. I have not watched this. I was instructed not to watch this before the program. So, because we're going to talk about some things that are a little bit heavy, Nazi stuff. But hey, you know what? We'll make it fun. This beautiful and brave person this is how I was told to describe it on Instagram, explained why women. Remember how at one point women needed their own spaces?
Yeah.
Right, there's a thing, women only spaces. And that was a thing where we said, well, okay, that makes sense, like curves, Weight Watchers, plus James Corden.
Right.
Well, now women don't need their own spaces. Watch this, Z explain it.
I think you have to get really specific about why you want the space and what the space is for, because just like women's spaces is a nebulous concept. Like, what is the purpose
it's not.
of this space for women?
It's a space to
First
get
off,
away
any
from
space
you.
that's for women automatically includes trans women, and it's nobody's job to police everyone else's identities. You are safer with trans women than without. But if you're creating a collective space for people who experience misogyny, that's not just women. It's women, it's non-binary people, it's trans men. But then if you specifically want a space without men, a space for non-men, that would include women and non-binary people and a myriad of other genders. And if it's for a bathroom, like, we all shit in the same bucket, go in the stall, do your business, leave. So the population
You
of
use
the
a
space
bucket?
is going to change based off the purpose of that space. And as for the safety of the space, that's
KFC.
dependent on the kind of people, not their individual identities. Any person
TFC.
is capable of causing harm. So if this is a private space, like, what's your
That's not
vetting
right.
system to allowing
I feel like
people
his
in?
dad
And if it's
doesn't
a public
invite him on
space,
vacations.
most of them aren't safe anyway. And that begets the bigger conversation of how do we teach people not to harm each
Does
other.
it beget the? Oh, does harm count you wearing a skin suit?
Yes.
And I don't know what she said.
Yes.
And
yes,
furthermore,
I don't know.
I don't care.
I don't know that she. I don't know what she is.
well, Steven,
We all
But
shit
I'm
in
being
the same
careful.
bucket.
Yeah, we all shit in the same bucket.
Do we? Because I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just something that you folks do.
Where do you live?
And it's weird. It's nobody's job to police identities. It's actually the police's job to make sure that men don't go into women's restrooms.
you know why?
That's literally the police officer's jobs.
We don't have a lot of women hanging out in men's restrooms looking to take advantage of men. It
No.
doesn't really happen. That's
No.
why it's a problem.
Yeah, to you.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like,
know.
that,
kidding.
okay, that person obviously
Might.
looks. Is this person non-binary? Do we know, is this person non-binary? We're going to play newest gender pronouns on Mug Club because we can't discuss it on YouTube. I don't know how this person identifies.
I don't either.
But if this person identifies as anyone other than a man with the perfect epilated laser-lined beard, put some effort into it. My point is, if you're going to claim to be non-binary, if you're going to claim to be a woman, look, you want me to use the pronouns? Fine. Just come close to passing the eyeball test.
Sell me on it, baby. I want to know you're
Yeah.
committed.
You just look like you're in like the band Sponge.
Yes.
I don't know how to. What are you?
Right. You look like Andrew WK went on a diet and got a facial peel.
Yeah, I get that you're trans, but are you transitioning?
Yeah.
Are you always in the transition then?
Are you just a transatlantic freak?
Like, does it start where you're like, why do you stop?
Yeah.
If you,
Well, you know.
I mean, it would be like if we looked at the fossil records and just, well, then there's just, stops here, Australopithecus, I don't know. But aren't there humans? No, that's not a thing.
Not that we're aware of.
no. Men can get pregnant. No,
Yeah.
they can't though.
Yeah, men
Yes,
can
they
get pregnant. Men can have periods, right. Yeah, it's just like a Halloween mask with the blood pump. It's like, oh, yeah, it's the exact same. I now experience all the splendor that is woman.
A myriad of other genders, by the way. That was my favorite comment. I'm like, oh, gosh.
But here's the thing. I would be lying if I didn't say that I don't find satisfaction in some, masculine feminist in a female-only space, and that thing walks in. It's like, you want to be the world's most powerful genie? Everything that comes with it.
Well, everything you say is a riddle.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I don't understand what you mean.
Just comes in,
So you want men in there because it's a safe space, and there's a box, and then we all poop in a bucket.
I was going to say, I noticed you're missing a bucket. We use the toilet.
Yeah. Why would you have a bucket, dude?
We use the toilet. That's not going to work for me. Let's make sure we get the bucket. Also, by the way, let's all share. Okay, hold on. All right, Joe Lewis, I'm going to let him out.
Oh, jeez.
Well, in fairness, we did make him watch that fella's talk.
Well,
that young lady.
I honestly don't know which way. Do we know
I don't.
what that person
I'm pretty
identifies
sure it is a man transitioning into.
as? Being a woman?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Into Silverchair.
Yes. All right.
I'm gonna name
I'm
every.
going to try not to get us banned. If we can move on.
Well, I'm trying to just name terrible '90s bands because it's painted nails, long hair,
Yeah.
and stubble.
Painted,
that was
painted
every,
9-inch nails.
Yeah, there's every video. Ooh, does anybody know what that means? You do?
I found
Was the length of the nails that crucified
it's
Jesus?
really small. It says they, she.
That's a they.
They, she.
What's the they for?
Oh, my God.
So,
I
I'm
thought
sorry,
you had
say
to
that
go
again.
with she, her.
Yeah, I thought you have to pick. They're not even picking their own lane.
They is not
and
a
she-
thing.
No, they is not a thing. Grammatically, it's like nails on. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like nails on your match strike beard.
I don't.
know
That's
what
what
to do.
Jamie looked like before the.
That's how Jamie do.
Who cares? Do what you want.
That's a
Leave me alone.
like it's obviously
really,
an,
but I
here's the thing.
just
It's obviously an effort to keep the 5 o'clock shadow. Right, has it set to the George Clooney level and trims the beard line. It's like it looks in the mirror like I'm a good-looking woman.
I just hope that on planes they're like, is there a transgender bathroom? And they're like, we have a bucket.
Yes,
Because apparently we all use the same one. It's
fine.
been
Go
used by
ahead.
Brian Stelter. Good luck.
yes. This person is the only person who specifically books the last row
Yeah.
because Z can be nearest to the bucket.
Yes, I'd like to be near the poop bucket.
Yes, I like to have a good view of the bucket.
That everyone.
I like to eat a confusing meal and then poop in the bucket.
Yes, exactly. if I could be in first class to get the free meal and cocktail, but they don't let me bring the bucket up there, so I'll call the ACLU.
We just need not to harm each other, Stephen. That's the easiest part.
Yeah, well, what about everyone else being harmed by sharing fecal matter in a bucket?
Well, that's your
A
problem.
woman wants to go into a woman's only space, and now she has to get a fecal transplant?
Have you ever been in a men's restroom? Do you know what that smells like? You don't want none of that.
Women's restrooms are wonderful. Have you
They
been
are.
in them?
They smell nice.
They're
There's
so much
couches,
better. Yeah, there's
mirrors,
couches when you walk in.
good
There's
lighting.
mirrors.
Yeah.
I'm in
Not
them
a
all the
joke.
time.
Now they
That's
go
how I
in and
know.
they've got that
It's legal
guy's
now.
nose hairs in a bucket.
You go into a men's room and it's like Joe Biden waiting to sniff your
I feel
hair.
like something changed at this
only
Applebee's restroom. No, it's the poop-filled bucket with
Yeah,
the,
well,
Oh,
with the nail trimmings,
that's what it is. It smells better than Applebee's.
and we're all the same. Entirely equal.
wonderful.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't say equal. I would say better than that.
yeah, yes, better than, greater than, because it's like you're equal plus a beard, and that's the
That's my new gender is greater than, just to piss everybody off.
for crying out loud. We used to have the bearded lady because it was a freak.
Yeah, the
It
shows.
used to be.
It used to be.
Used to be. Back in the day.
Now it's just the average. It's just your run-of-the-mill lady pooping in a bucket.
They don't have freak shows anymore, though, at the circus.
No, they
They
can't.
have brave shows.
Right. Yes.
because the world has become
You
a freak
clap
show
at the
day.
bravery.
It's just that person on a unicycle.
And just, wow.
Can we throw peanuts at it?
Here's
That
the
they-
brave man with just a torso lighting a cigarette.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Where's his bucket?
The bucket is filled. Are those peanut shells? No, that's poop. That's just, well, you know what? They like their peanuts. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, you know what? This is the world your children have to be raised in. When people say, why do you talk about the issues you don't like? I don't think there's any more important issue in our time than the idea that men and women exist. Okay? And do you know what? It really does. It extends its gender-neutral tentacles into everything, because we see this in Canada where you don't use the right pronouns. Oh, well, guess what? You can be arrested. You're a comedian who makes the wrong joke in Canada. You can be arrested. We see that happening in Australia. And then, of course, they try to cancel you through other ways here in the United States in, exerting pressure, right? Leveraging on private corporations who really are one and the same with the government, who act as the jackboot thugs of the government. And so if we get to the point where men and women cease to exist, and it's hate speech for you to think that they do, first off, you're not trusting the science. Second, it's over.
Yeah. Well, and you're othered.
I mean, the world.
Well, that's true, but you're othered for saying that men should not go into women's restrooms because you're trying to keep a place safe for women at a vulnerable moment where they could be all alone in a room with somebody they don't know.
But it
and it's a
doesn't.
guy.
It doesn't matter because there always
I'm
has to be this idea of conflict with people.
Yeah.
So let's say we give everybody what give everybody what they want.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Then it's just a new thing. Then a new
well,
thing.
human
then a
nature,
new
Dave.
thing.
We'll be perfect then. We won't hurt one another.
No, it'll be a perfect utopia of whatever that shit was.
I just saw this, the guy who split his tongue to become like a lizard in the hands.
What?
Yeah, he's becoming like a lizard person. I don't know.
There's
but the
another
point
guy
is,
who did that who killed his neighbors and he's in prison. I'm not even kidding.
could have never seen that coming.
Yeah, who
No.
who thought?
Right. He was so normal.
that's
He had
odd.
a lizard
It's like
tongue.
it tattooed your
Police
eyeballs
sketch
and
artist,
buried
okay.
people. Oh, weird.
Let me see. Forked tongue, scales on skin, oval face. Got it.
Right. Lives over there in the house that plays death metal until 4 a.m.
Right, yeah.
Oh, it's weird. The one that smells like corpses.
I thought he was in a Guar cover band. Here's the thing: we think it's absurd. At least that tongue is functional.
True.
Still works. All right. So speaking of all of this and of the totalitarianism that is sweeping the world, it's a pandemic, Dave. Yesterday, Prime Minister Blackface himself, Trudeau, 9 times the blackface, just to be clear, not once, 9 times, announced that Canada will be sanctioning Russia.
Oh, good.
To stand against, and keep in mind, this is the same Canada you're thinking about. I know some of you think, like, is there another Canada? No, it's the same Canada, same Prime Minister standing against Russia to stand against authoritarianism.
Canada and our allies will defend democracy.
Shut up.
We are taking these actions today to stand against
Why are there 2
authoritarianism.
signers?
The people of Ukraine, like all people, must be free to determine their own future. We will continue working with our international partners to safeguard Ukraine's territorial integrity and prevent further Russian aggression.
Hold on a second. Silver lining, I see an opportunity. You know what Ukraine should make their next export? Translators. Yeah, signers.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Is there a law? Is there a law against having normal/healthy signers in North America? Was there a meeting behind our back that I didn't know about?
Well, sometimes, I mean, her hands are in shape.
Yeah. Crack a lobster.
There were some very weird ones for New York
She
and
had
Michigan.
man hands.
So Canada, they want to. Oh, did we just turn up the volume here a little bit? Okay. Canada, they want to stand against authoritarianism in
Yeah.
Russia, Ukraine. Well, that sounds noble enough, right? If you're anti-authoritarian, okay, that's good. We should be on the same side. But we've talked about Canada quite a bit, and just in Canada, a convoy organizer, we didn't cover this yesterday, Tamara Lick was arrested, denied bail
Oh my gosh.
for organizing the convoy. And Biden also spoke about, so we're seeing this in Canada, and then the United States spoke about the sacrifice that would be required to defend freedom. And you first he starts that phrase, you're like, oh, he's turning babyface. No, to defend freedom in Ukraine.
As I said last week, defending freedom will have cost for us as well and here at home. We need to be honest about that. But as we do this, I'm going to take robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, not ours.
If you take any robust action, it results in pain.
You take any
hold on.
robots hustling.
He's a walking Robaxin commercial. What?
Joe Biden basically just said, now when we fire missiles, I'm going to make sure they don't hit us.
There is not
He's saying the
one.
sanctions won't hurt. I'm like, what the? Oh my gosh.
Not one clip exists where he doesn't stutter.
I know.
He can't get out a sentence.
Just read
We're
it,
gonna
Joe.
take RoboCop actions.
Ah, dang it. I love that movie.
Robitussin.
No more nuke on the
Sandwich.
streets.
Oh, jeez.
So these are, by the way, and I'm just sorry, I'm looking through this. I'm a little disorganized today.
Train's coming again. I can't see.
I'm trying to see this similar to his remarks on Canada, where Biden said nothing.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
Oh.
that's true.
People being arrested, people being trampled by Arabian horses.
Yeah, lives ruined for parking a truck.
Yeah.
That is basically what we're talking
Oh, that's cool.
So this is the question. These people who are obviously internationally focused, right? The term globalist is almost overused where people try and say, oh, that you mean that because you're an anti-Semite. That's what you really mean. No. When I'm saying Trudeau and I'm saying Biden, these people are globalists, but these people definitely, their primary focus seems to be on international interests. Why is it that they only care about democracy and freedom abroad? Do you think that let me ask you this. Let's say that if Russia didn't go in physically, but Russia just went to Ukraine, took over their government and said, you now need passports to travel. We're now going to shut down protests here in the Ukraine. We're now going to shut down voices of dissent against Russia. No actual physical violence. They said we're going to have forced quarantine camps. Would these leaders go in and try to ensure that democracy could thrive in the Ukraine? Why is it they only care about it over there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got a neighbor to our north dealing with this right now. Why isn't it time to stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Canada? They're so close to the border anyway. It's not like we would have to travel far.
Right.
Right? Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, because they're
be a
not
part of the
standing
United
up for
States.
the agenda.
I wouldn't be opposed to just taking over Canada.
I wouldn't either.
I don't think Canada would be opposed to you taking over Canada.
No, I don't think so.
Be like,
either.
hey guys, you remember when you burned down the White House? Yeah, that was a real jerk move, but we're taking you over.
Revenge is a dish best served 2 centuries late.
Yes, I'll be honest. I didn't know that happened until I was on the show.
It technically wasn't a country.
No.
It was technically still a colony, I believe, but they brag about it. They really consider that their big win that they burned
Is it
down.
like the real White House or the Richmond one?
No, the real one.
Yeah, it was a real White House. Yeah, they showed up and were just like, hey, what are you guys doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. So we went out for dinner because we thought it was safe with the Canadians. And we came back, we're like, what the
Come on.
Come on. We're like, oh, well, we pulled one over on you. You're like, all right.
God save the Queen.
All right. Well, we'll allow you to exist for a little while longer because we're benevolent.
So basically, they just blew up the golf course like Caddyshack?
Yes,
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, Rodney's putting on a big show. Just leave for an hour.
I'm all right.
Don't have to worry about me.
Guys,
So-
look, they're coming back.
Luckily, we did get some expert opinions, though, on the Ukraine crisis. And it's a crisis, Dave.
I did, well, yeah.
Pandemic from none other than Cardi B.
Oh, thank God.
She wrote, wish these world leaders stop tripping about power and really think about who's really getting affected, in parentheses, citizens. Don't you love that everything else is a grammatical holocaust?
Right, and then-
But she's like, I gotta use a parentheses in that shit. Also, I call it ellipses. You call that ... That is disgusting.
I call it half circle left, half circle right.
But I despise conjunctions.
Smiley face, frowny face.
Getting affected citizens beside the whole world is in a crisis. War, sanctions, invasions should be the last thing these leaders should worry about. Okay.
You ever think about knocking somebody out and stealing his wallet while you were a stripper?
Yeah.
I did that. No, for real.
Ever think about pushing some man named Chan in the subway, on the subway train?
Did you ever have an interview with the president and talk about your yeast infection? I did.
Jeez.
That's me.
I did. Bought him some votes.
That's right.
I voted 9 times.
Don't eat chicken and then do stuff with that.
You
literally
vote
what
for
she said.
Biden, I buy y'all cars. So she did clarify, though, that she wasn't into taking sides when she got backlash.
Oh.
phone is not hacked. It's really me. I actually want to say a lot of things, but I'm just going to mind my business because
Then stop.
sometimes I feel like I have such a big platform that if I don't say the right things, I might get killed. But I'm really not on NATO's side. I'm really not in Russian side. I'm actually in the citizen side because at the end of the day, the world is having a crisis right now. There's inflation not only in America, but everywhere in the world. It's really hard to get the economy back up. There is so much shipments and embarkments backed up. China's not really messing with us, so a lot of things are behind. A lot of goods are behind, and this has made it way more
lot
complicated.
of goods are
So I'm
behind?
just really annoyed by this, and I really wish that all world leaders right now
China's not messing with
just
us,
really
though,
come
'cause
with
she
a
doesn't know where
logical
Wuhan is.
conclusion, but whatever.
Yes, whatever. It's always great when a woman says, a lady says, I should mind my business, but then stop.
Well, it's
What you should say next is nothing.
Yeah, well, if you knew what you were talking about,
That would help.
Right.
Yeah.
It's why I didn't tweet anything about it.
I don't like drama, but did you hear about this?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to spread a rumor, but
Yeah.
What I care about is the citizens. Well, then on what side?
yes, which citizen?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all of them.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Ah, good.
We are the world, but what about the portion of the world that wants to kill everyone else in the world? I'll buy your cars.
Yeah. You know, when you care about citizens, you have to stop the people trying to kill the citizens, and that usually requires force.
Well, tomato.
But don't think about it.
I have black pupils like that band in the 90s. Not AFI, was it ALO?
I think it was ALO.
ALO.
Well, at least she
You
said
know?
inflation's bad.
You know ALO?
Right there. No, I have no idea.
Okay.
Thank
She doesn't
you
know
for
what
playing,
inflation
though.
is.
No, well, that's how she, before she goes out for a show, she has to the posterior.
Yeah.
And embarkments, I'm not sure what those were.
It popped. I don't know what an embarkment is either. Yeah.
Now watch, it's like some fancy financial term, and I'm like,
Oh, maybe
well,
she just
son of a-
joined Bowl Club. You don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea.
May have been word of the day.
I greatly await her advice on cryptocurrency.
I can't wait. I take all my advice from her on literally everything.
Yes, yeah. And also, by the way, she had some very helpful advice, surprisingly, for the Russian soldiers.
Well, let me tell y'all young bitches something. Y'all definitely don't know how to really wash your ass. Because when you get older, that's when you know how to wash your ass. You put your whole finger inside your asshole and you twirl it around and everything. And you wash your ass like this. Almost like you playing with your asshole, but you're really not.
Yep.
Far be it from me to question her expert advice, but sometimes it's, do you keep that to yourself?
My issue is more or less doing it with 5-inch nails.
Yes.
I feel like
guys.
she's doing some serious damage.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I don't think she could tell.
They're
I
like,
don't think
look,
that's
look,
washing.
Cardi B. It's very, very important. Wash, ass, change socks in that order.
Plus, Russians aren't going to understand it. Like, wash ass. That's just old wives' tale. It's self-cleaning.
Yes, it's a whole... I have a bidet.
Yes.
It's my friend
But yes.
at the bathhouse. His name is Hach Bidet.
Yes, the ass cleans itself through hair friction. It's like steel wool on pot.
She seriously does that. She did it after the Biden thing when she was talking about don't eat like certain foods and then go at your girl with your fingers. And you're
Yeah.
like, wow, that is
Yeah.
amazing that you just interviewed the president.
Remember when people were offended? Not offended, but they were a little bit disconcerted that Barack Obama was being interviewed by that African American lady who was in a bathtub with cereal,
Yeah.
something green.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, the point is we are way beyond that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, this is horrible.
Like, Cardi B. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just be Cardi B. You've made it.
If you want the Russians to surrender right now, just blare it from the speakers.
You're the American dream.
Right.
You've made it to the top for no reason.
That's what they're doing. It's their mental warfare, like the Nazis when they were going to Poland. It's like, all is lost. You will surrender. The Russians are just going in there playing over their tanks. Gotta clean your asshole with your nails. I'm gonna come in and show you how to clean asshole.
Please, no, we give up. No more.
I care about all the citizens' assholes, not just on one side.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I just think the citizens, in parentheses, people.
That's right. Because if we don't all properly clean the asshole, then we're going to have problems using the same bucket.
Mm-hmm. I know that guy, girl.
What were we about to say?
I've got a breaking news update.
Oh, really?
Oh, good from Cardi.
So remember how we were trying to get banned on TikTok?
Did we?
No.
Oh, come on!
But the video was taken down with a community guideline violation saying that we were engaging in harassment and bullying.
Of who?
Which would be like what? Xi Jinping?
Xi Jinping for saying he has a micro penis?
Now, are they going to put it back up? Do we know yet?
I don't know that yet, but they haven't taken us down. So we're going to have to try again. We're going to have to try again.
So Xi Jinping is admitting he has a micro penis. He's upset by that.
That's true.
Okay, all right. Let's try this for TikTok. Hashtag trash TikTok. I don't know if we can have this up. This is breaking. Xi Jinping hasn't trimmed his nails, thus doesn't properly clean his asshole. Xi Jinping, you have a disgusting, smelly, unclean sphincter.
That's why your nickname is Winnie Smells Like Poo.
Yes. Oh, bother.
Oh, bother.
I don't know. Is there anything else that we can say to get me banned from TikTok?
I mean, we've tried just about everything.
I don't know. You know what? We'll take your chat here on Mug Club afterwards. What would be good? I mean, we took a steaming dump in the bucket that is the Communist Chinese Party.
Certainly. And
I left a fake mustache in there.
Yeah, they're just fighting back, going, no, we don't care.
Yeah.
They're just pretending they don't care.
They're just pretending they don't care.
No, they're furious.
Xi Jinping has dirty asshole.
Yeah.
That was the rest of the quote.
Can you imagine the guy that has
Donald
to
Trump doesn't
show him
trust
this
China.
video? Like,
and he's immediately signing his own death warrant.
oh, yeah, we've already had 4 people killed.
Dear leader, I have news from Lara with Crowder.
No!
Bring it here. I don't want.
I said bring here.
No!
And read as if it's your own words.
Micro penis.
Just
How they know?
twirling
Good
a
advice on how to
revolver.
clean asshole. I'm going to try
Take
it.
note.
I didn't realize my nail, cuticle, had poo-poo on my nail.
Ooh. Cardi B.
Oh, man.
Do you have any idea what would happen if Cardi B tried to make it in Chinese cinema?
You mean killed at birth?
Yes.
Yeah, that would. Yeah. No. Left alone on a mountain to die, Dave. That's what.
And we sit here and we complain. People have no idea.
crazy.
No idea how good we have.
They really don't. There's no appreciation for how great this country is.
Hey, by the way, speaking of things that were banned, the Socialism for Figs shirt got banned, of course, where YouTube wouldn't even allow us to have it off of YouTube at proudershop.com. But now we have the Socialism Dunce Cap shirt.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
Yeah, and we've got another couple of shirt ideas coming around that might,
Yeah, well, this is
Interesting
also
for
for people who don't know, unlike Rage Against the Machine, like Tom Morello, they don't understand that Che Guevara was just like Hitler minus the charm.
Well, that's and the
Yes.
effectiveness.
Yeah,
Thank God.
they don't. Yeah, exactly. Just because he was an absolute coward.
Was it he built a window to watch people get
Yeah, he broke down a wall to
assassinated?
watch people get assassinated, to
Yeah.
watch
Yeah,
people get
yeah.
executed, and he specifically executed blacks, gays. He stood before, I believe, the UN and said, execute without trial. Of course, we'll continue to execute without trial.
Yeah.
And he was also a coward who never actually fought in a war, despite what Motorcycle Diaries tells you. I believe he was found, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going by rote, Bolivia, and he was holding a fully loaded, unfired rifle saying, I'm worth more to you alive than dead. Yeah, there you go. There's your revolutionary hero.
I
Did they
just want to
kill
hear
him that
somebody-
day?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure if they...
I don't know when he died.
The next sentence should be, no, you're not. Bam.
Yeah,
That's why I'm wondering. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
yeah. And take his motorcycle.
Here's your trial, the same one you gave everybody else. What were they, witches? And you were trying to get rid of them?
Actually, I'm an American that appreciates my country. I'm not leaving my couch.
Right. Cuban Americans, they do not tolerate socialism.
No, they hate it.
Well, they've seen what it's...
My agent is Cuban. You met him.
Yeah,
Not a fan.
not a fan. And I don't think we're letting the cat out of the bag that he a little light in the loafers.
Well, a little.
Yeah, he's a little light in the loafers, but he's Cuban and he hates socialists.
Yes.
It's always so weird when you hear something like, those assholes on the left, I just could kill every last one of them.
They're like, wait, what?
I just want to slap them. You're like, wow, and spank them.
Well, hold on. Now it's getting...
Oh, good. They're bringing... He had a guy living with there was like a goat in front of his house. Just in L.A. because that's how it is now.
Yeah.
And all the neighbors are complaining. He's like, you voted for this. I hope there's the whole petting zoo here tomorrow.
I love it.
Dude, he's hilarious. It's like his lawn, but it's like, I can't even tell this man with a goat and a mattress to leave.
Right.
Somehow that's a crime.
And dear God, I hope I don't misgender him on the way out.
Right.
Boy, I just miss it when it was the Mormons who wouldn't let us marry. Now I have goat shit everywhere. Use a bucket.
Eats everything.
Doesn't even want to marry.
No, he doesn't want to get married. So speaking of right now we were just talking about Cardi B. Speaking of eras coming to an end, 25 seasons on the air.
Oh.
My first job, the show Arthur on PBS, just aired its final episode.
Oh, no.
Monday, ending the longest running kids animated show of all time. And they kind of did a fast forward so we know how they end up because, we were concerned. Yeah. It's bizarre that they never aged for 25 years, and then in the final episode, they aged 18 years. But that's how it works.
Well, sure.
Yeah. So Arthur actually, and for those of you who want to know, I know that those of you do want to know, Arthur ended up as a hipster graphic novelist. Unfortunately, his first foray was a graphic novel on Jeffrey Epstein, so didn't have the happiest ending.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it happens.
What a wonderful time to hang.
He must have found his kid's bucket.
Coroner suspect COVID, just to be clear, in the final episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
Francine, if you remember Francine, she apparently became a Leslie Jones lookalike / lesbian shoe salesman.
Oh, that's weird. I thought Arthur and DW were the anteaters.
Well, they are. Dave.
Yeah?
No.
No.
But yes. And there was no character arc, unfortunately, for everyone's favorite character, the Brain. So that was my job.
So sorry.
A lot of people know I was the Brain on Arthur for several seasons. Hey, you wanna require years of therapy? Get fired at 13 years old unceremoniously.
Because you've aged out.
Yeah, like your voice changed. I'm like, no, it didn't. Like, shut up, get out of here.
You're gone, kid.
You're gone.
I don't care what.
Were you just your voice, or did you have to do?
Well, no. So what's funny is I was the second Brain, and so I had to do an impression of the first kid. So I was able to do it when I was a kid, able to do a spot-on impression of the Brain. But then when I got older, I couldn't do that impression anymore.
Oh,
they just fired me.
They just fired you.
Just fired me.
They just brought in a 13-year-old and hurt his feelings.
They didn't even call me into a room.
Really? What'd they do?
In front of everybody.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Your craft services are like, what are you doing?
I didn't think you were still here.
Put the Nature Valley bar down. Put the Nature Valley bar down,
But I've been
former
here
Brain.
for 4 seasons.
We found a younger, adorable boy.
Yes.
Whose voice doesn't sound like he's been chain smoking.
Well, come on. I don't think you're going to find anyone. Kieran Culkin. All right, Kieran Culkin.
Oh,
Well, that
he-
makes sense.
He's beautiful.
Now I know.
When I did Arthur, and I know we will be moving on to everything that matters. But when I did Arthur,
This
and
matters.
you guys, you can smash the like button. It's a little more casual here today because this was something I did, and the wonderful thing is I did do the Christmas special, so I still get them royalty checks. I realized when I was a kid that I hated leftists because I had to do the Kwanzaa rap. And so this was when I was 12. And then I learned about Kwanzaa.
Couldn't they have fired you before then?
How old are you? 15? When did Kwanzaa come out?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was pretty new.
Yeah.
It was shiny new Kwanzaa.
Did you find out about it that day?
Yeah, and then I had to explain it on the show. Like, these three, I was scooping, I think, ice cream for Arthur. We can bring it up on Mug Club, probably, the Kwanzaa thing from the Brain.
What is it exactly? It's when...
Kwanzaa is nothing.
Yeah,
It's when a guy named Ron Everett, who called himself something Karenga, changed his name, who also was a convicted sex criminal who beat women with fire hoses and would stick hot irons on their face and pour bleach down their mouths because he had sex slaves. And then he said something Africa, Kwanzaa, we need something that divides Americans. And a bunch of white Americans decided that they would act as though it's a real thing. Go to Africa, say Kwanzaa, and they'll just be like, that's not a thing.
I was always told it was James Earl Jones comes back and forgives your child support debt.
Yes, well,
Well, that would be
you're thinking
great.
of the Sandlot 2.
Oh, that's
And it was straight to VHS for a reason.
I gotcha. Yeah, there's not a big dog. There's just a big stack of bills.
Right. Sitting there blind like,
For
that
one,
alimony check.
for one of the specific kids.
Yes. Benny the Jet. Okay.
Has diabetes.
Speaking of this, actually,
Killing
Epstein.
me, Smalls.
There's
No,
an
you're killing you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Your diabetes is killing you.
Right, Sugarfoot.
Sweating.
Epstein, there's an update on Epstein. So an associate of Epstein I don't know if you know this, was just found dead in a cell.
No way.
Yeah.
Weird.
French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel was found dead in his prison cell. Now, he'd been charged with raping at least one minor, but he allegedly pimped out over 1,000 girls to Jeffrey Epstein, which, frankly, like the worst, it's just 1,000 girls. That just sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it does seem like
At a certain point, how can you spare the fluids?
But how can you deny the ethic?
Yeah, well, look, there's
He didn't give up.
two things can be true.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
If at first you don't succeed, rape, then rape again.
Yeah, put on that hard hat and get to work.
Well, Magic Johnson slept with over 1,000 women, so he's like, well, I've got a different record
women.
I'm going for.
Well, yeah, but he was a celebrity. They were coming to him.
That's true.
Yes.
And then they were
Willingly.
like, I have what?
Yeah.
Ah, well,
And by they, we mean ladies.
Yes.
yes.
Tons and tons of women.
Yes. Which brings us actually to curious coincidences. Okay, so this person, Brunel, it said that Brunel hung himself with his bed sheets.
Yeah.
In case you remember, Epstein, a little bit of similarity there. But unlike his buddy Epstein, the cell did not have cameras. For people who don't remember, you're like, no, Epstein's cell did have cameras, but they they shut off. You're like, how many? Wait, hold on a second. Which angle did we lose? All of them. I have no idea.
On
how
Suicide Watch with guards posted outside.
We have a sponsorship with Ring.
There was a glitch.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a glyph.
Yeah.
A glitch and a guard change.
Well, there was a guard named Glyph.
Yeah, Glyph. It was
Jiminy Glyph. He just said, I love Jeffrey Epstein. I love it when he hangs himself. Don't make me sad again.
time to take a break.
Time to break your hyoid bone. So unlike his pal Epstein, there were no cameras. Okay. But there were like 6 prison patrols, and he was under constant watch, and he still managed to kill himself with the bed sheets.
And he had bed sheets, first of all, which is a bit strange.
Right, yeah.
A shaving kit.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff was going on.
Yeah, and a toothbrush with a toothpick
With
at the end of
already
it.
sharpened.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Oh, Epstein, the gift that just keeps on killing.
He just knew a lot of depressed people.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They were all in the same. They were all in the same child rapist support group.
Yeah, just a lot of sad people who were like,
What is it? Control room? What is that?
No. Steven, that's my bad. I don't know that we actually told you, but Bill Barr actually sent a new rep in for us. So they're kind of jamming.
he's been causing quite a ruckus.
What the whole hell? Dude, chill. It's just a jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit? What does he want?
He wants to give you one of those delicious Built Bars as a gift. He's sweet.
Thanks, Jackrabbit. That was nice.
Yeah, he likes to spread joy.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones. A little rough in bed, though.
Put me in a hospital bed for about 3 weeks.
Right? He's great.
By the way, we wrote that, not built. Just to make sure. I don't want to get any angry calls. I am down 26 pounds.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
26 pounds.
Nice.
26 pounds because I just use look, no one needs protein bars, obviously. Like I was like when people are like, if I eat a protein bar, you're not gonna become Jackrabbit, okay? That is years of work.
Yes.
Still lost to the tortoise though. Just doesn't learn to not take those naps.
Well, twerking tortoise
Yeah.
definitely changed his ways.
He absolutely has, yeah.
Now we have to do a twerking tortoise ad.
Cardi box turtle. Go to built.com, use the promo code Crowder15, you get 15% off. I just use them like dessert. They're delicious. This is the birthday cake. This is actually this is the favorite of someone in the office. It's my least favorite. But their new chocolate fudge, it's like fudge brownie with coconut and that it's
Double
unbelievable.
chocolate.
That was really good.
They just taste really good. They have real chocolate in there, and you know what? You can either replace dessert, or if you're scrawny, eat a couple Built bars. You know, put some meat on your bones. Maybe one day you too can be a jackrabbit.
I steal them from the office.
What?
Boxes.
Dave?
You don't need to steal them. They're a sponsor.
Oh.
You know.
It's the thrill.
Oh, I just want to make it, like I'm checking something.
Sort of like when I was at PBS, and I would have my fill of those Nature Valley bars at the craft table.
Oh, and me and the gang go into a prison and hang a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'll poop in a bucket.
Turn off cameras. Have a good time.
So this is something that I do. We're going to talk about here today because we've, it's a slow march to tyranny. It's a slow march into an authoritarian regime. And I defended Gina Carano when she made this comparison on Instagram because there are stupid people who just go, "You're just like Hitler." Okay, no, that's silly. But when Gina Carano said, how did it start? It started by neighbors turning on neighbors. It started not just with a regime, but by convincing neighbors to turn on each other and to other groups of people. I thought that was a thoughtful, legitimate comparison because we had people turning folks into the government for not wearing a mask. Or now you see in Canada for not honoring the vaccine, the mRNA injection mandate. But how have we gotten here? I think sometimes it's important to sort of look at an inflection point, I should say. And I have been spending a lot of time thinking about this. And by the way, you guys can comment below before you watch this segment where you think it started. How did we end up with quarantine camps and freezing bank accounts, right? And passports, vaccine passports. How do we end up here? What was the tipping point? Because there were a lot of steps. And I do think there's one. I think the most important one, and this is where there is a comparison that I'm going to make. It's shocking once I started doing more research as to how it parallels this, is telling people, it started with this: trust the science. That's how it started. Now, what do I mean? But there's more to that phrase. People just say trust the science. Well, no, that sounds good, right? Just like pro-choice. That sounds good. Sounds benign. Yeah, we all trust science. Why would we not trust science? The scientific process. But when you equate trusting the science with exclusively trusting and being coerced into trusting the government mandated science, that's when the problem starts. And then you include into that, the idea, and we'll go through all of this, eliminating voices of scientific dissent, no matter how legitimate they may be. Then you get to the point where you can go through the phase of othering people. And once you've divided people, once you've created a second class of citizenry, well, then you're pretty much free to do whatever you want to them, including freezing their bank accounts and jailing them indefinitely. So this started with trusting the science and the experts. Let me just show you in case you've forgotten. I believe this is the inflection point that led us to what we see in Canada and see in Australia and would absolutely see in the United States if former Vice President Biden had his way. We just have checks and balances.
We follow the science.
Why are adults believing people on the internet instead of science and experts?
I have a wild idea. Just hear me out.
Follow the science.
Science is evolving.
What if we all just did science?
This is so silly that we have people who are anti-science.
Science is moving and we are following the science.
And experts.
On the other hand, science.
And not trying to silence the voice of science.
And experts.
We all need to follow science to protect our loved ones.
We need to listen to scientists.
And experts.
Science and the truth.
We should be letting public health lead.
You're really attacking not only Dr. Anthony Fauci, you're attacking science.
I think science.
Because you've got to be guided by the science and the current data. Attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science. It's preposterous, Chuck. Totally preposterous.
You notice he hasn't really crawled out of his hole as much lately?
Thank
God. I wonder if it's because he was so wrong about stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe he got the Omicron, and he's one of the 0.0000 0 deaths.
Oh, that'd be so sad.
I'm joking, not 0 deaths. I just mean statistically very little.
Do you think he grew a conscience finally and was like,
what?
Man, those dogs. No, not about COVID, but about the dogs. Like, the beagles.
Well,
I was wrong.
Sebastian Bach said on Twitter that the science is 100% accurate.
Right. I mean,
so I go with
I don't know how he
Well.
grows a conscience because, I mean, the multiplication of 0 is still 0.
Well,
That's true.
So, and by the way, when we say science, this is important for you to note, and this is when people always try and make this argument about the First Amendment, right? And they say, well, private platforms can do whatever they want. The science was what? The CDC. The science was what? The WHO. And this is who? YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They said, this is how we are going to fact check information. And by the way, guess what information gets fact checked? Even information that is questioning their fact check from other legitimate scientists. This is when it's scary, when the government says trust the science, and the only science that can be considered valid is the one, and I mean the one scientific theory that is funded by them. Classical liberals. Really, I know we have a lot of you watching. I just wonder where you are when you complain about campaign finance reform, you complain about special interests in politics. Why all of a sudden with the left do they not see a conflict of interest with the government funding science? There's no problem with the government funding some science,
right?
As long as all other scientific voices are, that's part of the scientific process. Science isn't determined by consensus. That's the thing. It's not determined by a vote.
Right.
Science is determined by as many voices coming together as possible. And then one voice ultimately is correct. That's what science is.
Well, the problem is that this test balloon was actually floated with climate change. If you remember, it was like 95% of the scientists agree, and if you didn't agree, that and it was
97.
97%.
That's what they claim.
Thank you. Right?
Yeah.
It's gone up since then, right?
Yeah.
No, they claim that. But if you didn't agree with that, if you said, look, we just need to have a conversation about it and had some very thoughtful thoughts like we've had, right? Some thoughtful conversations like, hey, wait a minute, maybe there are some benefits to this. Maybe there's some drawbacks. Maybe we're never going to get China to play ball and none of this makes any sense. Like if you had that conversation, you were a science denier.
Yeah.
Right. And so they set science up as something that you cannot challenge ever, ever, ever. I almost spilled my water there. I do have one quick note, though.
What?
And you have to make a decision live on air for this. I apologize. I was just passed a note. And if we want him, Kyle Rittenhouse can be on live in 15 minutes. If we want him, I know we're talking about this subject. That'll be about 15 minutes until we're done with it. So it's up to you, sir.
Oh, shit. I also forgot that we have Jorge Masvidal on the show tomorrow.
We just got a text saying that Kyle is available if we want him. I don't know if we can fit it in today, but that's up to you.
Yeah, maybe we can fit him in tomorrow. Maybe you know what? You guys smash the like button if you want him on.
How many do we need? Put a number on it.
10,000 likes.
10,000 likes in the next.
Otherwise, what I'm thinking is
minutes.
maybe tomorrow we just do a special, like a guest show with Jorge Masvidal and with Kyle Rittenhouse.
We'll see.
Which we don't usually do. Have a couple of guests on tomorrow and talk with them.
Yeah, let's do that.
And would it be via Skype that we would have Kyle, or what?
Yeah, that'd be a little easier than
Skype. Okay.
I mean, I don't expect him to waltz on into this.
Well,
studio
who knows? He could have been around
carrying the scalps of all the pedophiles years past.
Yeah,
get a kid toucher in here. Maybe he's following him.
Yeah.
Shoot me.
Yeah, I didn't say it.
I didn't finish.
Only ginger pedophiles are allowed to use that word. So here's where we talk about yes. So we talk about the science, okay, the government science. Now, how does this compare? This is actually something that not a lot of people know. I spoke about this with Jordan Peterson when he was on the show. A common theme with Nazi propaganda was a lot of they didn't just blame the Jews and say, "Hey, the Jews are bad."
Right.
No, you needed to find a reason. And how it started was they blamed Jews for spreading diseases. Things like they equated typhus, right, which was spread by parasitic lice, with Jews. They said that only the Jews could get parasitic lice. The gypsies could get scabies, but it wasn't as big of a deal. The Nazis justified putting Jews, of course, in ghettos, saying that it was to, what? Stop the spread of typhus. That was a big part. A big part of how they got this started was they decided to continue down this theme of communicable diseases. It was presented as a public health / safety issue. The gas chambers that you know about, you all know about the gas chambers.
Yeah.
Did you know that delousing baths were often used as cover?
Yes.
Well, you did, but a lot of people
just
don't.
to get rid of lice. But they
Man's
also
Search for Meaning is a book I read. So
yeah. Well, and when Stephen says that they did that, it wasn't like one article that they did. It was every single time that you went to the theater to watch a show, they had a newsreel that would play before, and they would always compare Jews to some kind of vermin, some kind of plague amongst us.
And it was all under the guise of science.
Right, and public health.
And just like now, where they say, well, hold on, a lockdown, that's not a moral issue. And I go, well, hold on a second. I think removing my freedoms, my rights, my business. I think that's a moral issue. They say, no. It's not a question of ideology. It's a matter of health, right? That's what we've heard. This is a matter of public health. You'll have to put your rights aside. Well, you know what? Strikingly familiar. April 24th, 1943, Heinrich Himmler, I don't know if you know him, but he was a bad chap, told the SS officers.
Invented the hymen.
Getting rid of lice is not a question of ideology. It is a matter of cleanliness. Oh, well, there you go. It's not a matter of ideology. It's a matter of science.
He was a Dove salesman.
In just the same way, anti-Semitism for us has not been a question of ideology, but a matter of cleanliness, which will now soon have been dealt with. We shall soon be deloused. We have only 20,000 lice left, and then that's a lot of straws. And then the matter is finished within the whole of Germany. They also use, by the way, tuberculosis as a pretext to exterminate the Polish.
Yeah, well, how did he know there was 20,000 lice? I don't know.
Cyclone 1000 for all of your 1,000 parts.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, jeez. Oh, my gosh.
Don't get me started on Dove.
Oh. Well, look, it's interesting that you said that. So 1943. If I had to ask you guys, when do you think Hitler was sworn in as Chancellor of Germany?
I'm going to go 40.
Nobody's going to guess this right, I don't think.
2.
So this is a slow march. January of 1933. 10 years prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
So
when was he a painter?
Yeah, exactly. When did he have
How did he find the time?
Yeah,
I know.
Again, that old
January
work ethic.
33.
Boy, he
This
really
is
went
a
from
slow
like,
march.
fine, my paintings suck, watch this.
Yeah. Everybody thinks Hitler just came into office and immediately went after the Jews. No, he set this up over time, where people looked at Jews as the others that have to be dealt with.
So they othered the Jews, and they were saying this. And by the way, this is how it was. The science says that Jews could spread diseases to the rest of you. And so this is not an ideological issue. This is not a moral issue. This is a public health issue. We need to deal with the Jews, this other class of people, right? That's what they did in Germany. Let's compare that to now. Government officials and the media, what are they doing? Hey, hold on a second. The threat to the rest of you is the unvaccinated.
One quarter has not gotten any. And in a country as large as ours, that's 25% minority, can cause an awful lot of damage. And they are causing a lot of damage. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units.
I'm not going to say to someone, oh, look, just wait us out, will you? Just wait 4 or 5 weeks, and then you'll be able to go to the pub. No, if you make the judgment to not get vaccinated, and you reckon you can wait out us or the publican or whoever you want to think you're waiting out, you won't wait out the virus, because the virus will be here for a long time. And your only protection against it is being vaccinated.
There is a clear message that is coming through.
Kamala?
This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We are seeing outbreaks of cases in parts of the country that have low vaccination coverage because unvaccinated people are at risk.
2 different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated,
so evil.
That is what it is. So, yep.
New Zealand.
Unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death for unvaccinated. For themselves, their families, and the hospitals they'll soon overwhelm.
It is obviously difficult for people to, if they've
shut
never
up,
had
you
a
inbred.
vaccine, because they ought to think about other people rather than themselves.
How's your COVID?
And blue piss. That's the real plague.
COVID and blue piss.
Yes, it's...
That's my calling card.
Do you like my pearl necklace?
Yes.
It's the first
I
one
wear it
I've
everywhere.
actually had since 1943.
And I wave my hand like this.
From my cousin.
This is how I wave, because this is my thing. It's patented.
It's a flipper.
Don't
flipper wave.
Don't look in my garage. That's where Diana's brakes remain.
Flipper.
So,
Flipper.
Go faster.
Yes.
Now, what do we have as far as examples of that? I know you're going to say, oh, well, hold on a second. They just vilify the unvaccinated. They other them. But, it's not like that's been as serious as, the ramifications with the Jews. Of course, not yet. And, of course, delousing didn't seem like a serious consequence, but that's the march. So what do we have? Governments in the U.S. and abroad, like you just saw those smug pricks in Australia and New Zealand. Penal colony, gonna penal colony.
Well, with Gerald's new information, it being 1930, not new information, but I just found out, being 1933 when he was sworn in, this has been a much more swift move.
It's been a much more rapid
Yeah,
decline.
absolutely.
Yeah. They've banned unvaccinated people from all areas of public life. So how would you consider this severe? In Boston, we talked about this, the man who was denied a heart transplant because he was unvaccinated.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
And then, of course, Howard Stern, who, by the way, Howard Stern thinks that Joe Rogan is a problem because he has guests on, guests who are doctors, actual scientists.
Right.
More fans than him.
Right. Well,
stuff
exactly.
like that.
Yeah, but Howard Stern, apparently, no problem. His shock jock humor now is making sure to kowtow to the man because he knows he can say this and it sounds mean, but he's not going to get in trouble. He won't get removed from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere, by saying that he wished the unvaccinated would die.
Me, anyone unvaccinated would not be admitted to a hospital. At this point, they've been given plenty of opportunity to get the vaccine. Our government, they think that there's some conspiracy to turn them into a magnet or something like this. They think they're going to become magnetized if they take the vaccine.
Oh, Lord.
Now, if you don't get it, in my America, all hospitals would be closed to you. You're going to go home and die.
Heston!
Oh, the same America that tried to throw you off the air for 25 years?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
those are the people that you're trusting in now?
Well, hold
Weird.
on. And by the way, the real reason people aren't getting this injection is because they fear magnetism. There may be like 5 people out there, I think, that actually are like, dude, for real, right? It's going to happen.
Well, he watched a Jordan Klepper video.
Well, he must have.
Is that the chip video? Or do people think they'll get chipped?
Yeah, this is the mark of
No, you're thinking of the remake Chips.
Oh, with
Which I was
Eric
not
Estrada?
well, no, he wasn't in the remake. That's why it was offensive.
Is he vaccinated?
I don't know, but it would be a tragedy for
Get to the bottom of this.
for all
I'm
of
not gonna
America
sleep.
if Eric Estrada is not vaccinated.
I hope he makes it.
So let's get into the science here, what they did in Nazi Germany. So now you've seen, okay, we've othered people. The science, the medical community in Germany. The Nazis, by the way, they controlled almost all mechanisms, all wings of the German medical industry. National Socialist Party.
Get it?
And I need to make it really clear, too, because the term Nazi is thrown around so flippantly, it's lost all meaning. When we say Nazis, we mean the government. The Nazi Party ran the government.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. You need to understand that Nazism is not just some people meeting in a basement with a Confederate flag. Nazis ran a country and almost took over the world, and this is how they did it. Nearly half of all German doctors joined the Nazi Party more than any other profession. They were recruited. So if you look at engineers, you look at other categories of employment, not even close. They specifically recruited, targeted, and doctors joined the Nazi Party. And all the doctors, by the way, to be clear, they had to complete ideological training, which is ironic. Because think about it, they would say, well, it's not ideological, it's a health issue. We just read that from Himmler.
Exactly.
It's not an ideological issue with the Jews, it's a cleanliness issue, it's a health issue.
We're just doing it for the betterment of our fellow countrymen.
Right, but then the doctors had to complete ideological training, kind of like here if
Yeah.
you're going to work with the CDC and you have to agree with modern gender theory.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's easy to ace a test when there's a gun to your head and you know what all the answers are supposed to be.
Right?
Yes. Are the Jews bad? A, yes.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
D, all of the above?
Yeah, D, all of the above.
Do they all have lice?
Yeah.
Do you want them to?
We will permit E, all of the above, including the D, all of the above. That was a trick question. We just wanted to see how passionate you were about, the lice.
You fill out the answers, I'll sign it.
Yes,
It's all
that's
right.
all.
Just please let me go.
But be sure to use your number 2 pencil, otherwise it won't work.
Tell Hitler he ruined the toothbrush mustache.
Doctors who opted out, by the way, this is something you should know, kind of like here in the United States, and we'll get to that in a second. They were dismissed, they were forced to leave, or they were sent to concentration camps.
Or they saved the paperwork and just shot them.
Yes.
Seriously, this is what was happening. And by the way, they conducted some of the worst experiments on humans in history that we have.
You know who else did? The Japanese and the Chinese.
Yeah.
If you look at what they did during those wars.
Unbelievable.
80% of doctors in Austria were fired when Nazis took over the country. So this is kind of what we were talking about with the police chief in Canada, right? Someone resigns, and you don't know the full story behind that. The new police chief comes in and says, we're going to hunt you down. We're going to punish you for basically indefinitely if you've ever taken part in these protests. You look at what happened in Nazi Germany, it was 80% Austria. Doctors fired. And now the highest number of recruits into the medical field who have to undergo ideological training. And guess what? They are now the science, the only science. That's how it starts. I don't understand how rational people, whether you are left or right, cannot see the problem and that it's always played out this way when you grant authority and the final say, especially as it relates to, any realm of expertise, exclusively to the government. Yeah. That is not a good thing. You do want some checks and balances to some. Can we all agree that you want some checks and balances? It is remarkable to me when you have people saying, trust the government and demanding fewer rights. By the way, we actually have some archived footage of Hitler's chosen, and I warn you, disturbing, replacement physicians.
Among his first orders of business will be replacing 80% of all Austrian physicians with doctors loyal to the Reich. Here's one now.
A Siamese triplet connected via the gastric system. Ingestion by aim.
Only the best here for the Third Reich. And as the Fuhrer always says, trust the science.
So much charm.
So angry looking all the time.
You know,
Sad.
you just wonder why God didn't just spread some of the charm around.
Just a little bit.
So, German, and by the way, we are going to have Kyle Rittenhouse on after this segment.
Yes.
So let's make sure we get that guys out there on social media. And I think we hit the like mark. So
Yeah, we blew
that
past.
happened.
We need to set a higher bar.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we want it.
1 million likes.
Yeah. Well, no, okay, hold on. One.
Kyle Rittenhouse, hold. Don't dial that last number. 1 million likes. So let me give you some specific examples. There was a German psychiatrist, John Karl. I have to say the whole name, but John Karl Friedrich Rittmeister. His name's my name too. He was arrested, tortured, executed for even daring to discuss the atrocities of the Third Reich. Members of the medical student group, the White Rose, they were executed for distributing anti-Nazi leaflets. Let's compare that to now. Doctors here in the United States, and not to mention Canada or Australia.
The only Holocaust that's happening here is with beagles.
Yes. But they still have lice.
No, that's true.
Can't get rid of that.
The beagles. There's 20,000 lice.
With Fauci and his beagles, it is interesting when you say that to people who even love animals, and they're like, well, sometimes, there's cruel things you have to do.
Really?
In science, it's like, shut up.
Sandflies
Like, you don't
eating
get
them alive?
Eating a beagle's face, it's like, what are you trying to prevent?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to prevent sandflies eating a beagle's face.
Right.
There's no other experiment you should be
You
doing.
figured you could do it more humanely than the sandflies would?
Oh,
right.
They're like, yeah, we can. We cut its vocal cords so we can't hear it cry.
Right.
I know that sounds disturbing to some of you at home. Look it up.
Yeah.
This is the science.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Judge Science.
Go ahead, YouTube, pull that, because it's science, right?
And by the way, these same people, they're the people who throw a bucket of paint on someone for wearing a fur coat. But then when it comes to Fauci signing off on cutting the vocal cords and putting beagles in not even cages, head cages.
Head cages, yeah, just the head.
I mean, they had to go out of their way to have those probably custom made to a specifications. I want to just cage the head. I want his body to feel free to move, to kill him with hope.
Okay.
How do you get like a degree in veterinary science and that's your first day and you're like, this is really not what I thought?
Yeah, I did
happen.
this. I wanted to become, when people always ask me why I wanted to become a vet, I would answer, I want to help animals.
Yeah, there's just a tiger with a beehive on its head. You're like, this seems strange.
And that's how they tortured people in Vietnam. They would put rats or mice in one of those bags and put your head in it. Haven't you seen Rambo?
Yeah, I wanted to help sick cats, not wrap a chimpanzee's head in asbestos insulation. This is a weird...
Yeah, who's in charge? Garfield?
Yeah. Hey, where do I grab the? Where's the food for the Great Danes? Is it next to the fiberglass? It is the fiberglass.
Ah, well, yeah.
Wow, Lucy, I get pulling the football, but you're a real bitch.
Yeah. And I don't believe she's ever been to psychology school.
I don't believe that's good advice at all.
So let's compare this with the Nazis, right? Parroting this and getting... Now, today, what do we have? Doctors who don't parrot the official narrative. We know this. They're completely... And the term deplatformed is up. They are deplatformed. What do I mean by when I say the establishment? Meaning they are deplatformed by people in media.
Yeah.
By proxy from the government, because the government says this is dangerous, this is misinformation. The CDC labels it misinformation. And then big tech media say, well, look, there's nothing we can do. The CDC labels it that. Yeah, that's the government. So Anthony Fauci, let's start here before we get into media. Anthony Fauci, the science, Mr. Beagle Killer himself, and Francis Collins, they colluded with the media to discredit what was known as the Great Barrington Declaration. I'll explain that in a little bit for those who, we need to do a little remedial. In an email, and I'm reading you an exact quote with Fauci, Collins said, "This proposal from the 3 fringe epidemiologists seems to be getting a lot of attention. There needs to be a quick and devastating published takedown of its premises." By the way, these fringe epidemiologists, just so you know, who wrote the declaration, they were doctors from Harvard, Stanford, and Oxford.
Oh.
So
they have medical schools at those places?
Division 3.
Huh. Oh, yeah. So not...
Never heard of any of the institutes. I'm sorry.
By the way, also, unlike Anthony Fauci, regardless of where they got the degree, They're actual epidemiologists.
Weird. Have they practiced in the last 25 years?
30, 40 years?
Yeah. Give or take your entire career, Fauci.
Wow.
That's why Fauci and Biden get along so well. They haven't held private office since any of you watching right now have been born.
You nailed it.
No.
Biden hasn't held it's 49 years that he's been suckling at the public teat?
Yeah.
Usually people their age, think about anywhere else in the private sector, who, by the way, get banned because they're not the science, Biden would be forcibly retired. Fauci, you wouldn't let that guy run anything at your company. You'd be like, come on, man, your time's up. But when you're in the public dole, you can do it forever because it's not about efficiency. It doesn't matter if you have a track record of being right. You're talking about a guy who said AIDS could be airborne. And it's not. This is what matters too. When we go back to Fauci and the AIDS thing that he got wrong, just like he got a lot of this wrong, and by a lot, I want to couch my words, all of it wrong with COVID, it's not that he got it wrong. It's that there were other people at that point in time who had it right.
Yeah.
When people say, well, I forgot you never made a mistake. No, there were people from Harvard, from Stanford, from Oxford. There were people back then who saw Fauci as a joke when he said that AIDS could be airborne and we didn't know it was transmitted. Them saying, we know exactly how it's transmitted. It's when you have to look back at that point in time and say, did they get it wrong because there was no information, or were they actively suppressing the information available?
Right.
Just like in Nazi Germany, there were some doctors who said, no, typhus is not a Jew problem. Tuberculosis isn't exclusive to the Poles. And then they were disappeared with the bullet bill being sent to the family. It's the same thing here. There were plenty of doctors saying, no. The Imperial College of London, the study is wrong. We're not looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4. Early on, some people said a 6% mortality rate. There were people who had it right.
And the only reason that we weren't able to get that information is because you didn't want to listen to them. We had practicing doctors in California that had patients that they were actively treating for this and saying, hey, here's what we're seeing. We had these same 3 schools. I think it's the same 3 doctors, Harvard, Stanford, Oxford doctors, trying to have like a town hall meeting with Ron DeSantis and being banned from being able to do that and have that broadcast as well. We're not saying that sometimes they won't have the wrong ideas. What we're saying is you were so wrong. And just a second ago on CNN, they actually put up, it's not up there right now, they said a new study comes out and says that the school closures have had like a devastating impact on kids.
You know who's up on there? You know who's up on there right now? Serial masturbator, Jeffrey Toobin.
Yes. Well,
and
legal scholar.
You Americans just don't trust your institutions. You mean the guy who was jerking off on a Zoom call?
No, I don't trust him.
That's not a mundane detail, Michael.
No, it's just
you are actively suppressing all the other voices, regardless of if you're trying or not.
Right.
When you only allow one doctor to speak and you're saying that that's the guy you should listen to, you are doing it deliberately.
Yes.
Bottom line, I mean...
They other the citizens just as they other the doctors.
Yeah,
they say,
100%.
this is the science. This is it. And someone's, well, hold on a second. Practicing epidemiologist here from Harvard. Oh, Stanford here, Oxford. No!
Can't do that. And by the way, we got in trouble for just quoting the CDC's.
Yeah, we got removed for
California.
quoting the CDC.
When you have people that are actual experts, and the idea that you have an expertise in a virus that nobody understands, except for maybe the guy who helped create it, but you have a virus that nobody's aware of or understands.
Xi Jinping, micro penis?
Yes.
3.5 inches, not micro.
You can't be an expert in it.
No.
And that's why everything is a theory. So there's people that have theories that are going to be stronger than his, just based on his track record.
Right.
Of every other disease that he had to deal with. Like AIDS, where a guy in Dallas was like, I'm just going to go over to the border and start mixing medicine. Oh, look, I'm living longer.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
It's pathetic.
The things you have to do to live.
Well, he also bought his medicine from the Magic Johnson movie theater franchise.
They
had
do
them at the
have
concession stands.
Special sprinkle on their popcorn.
Yes.
Should never have gone to the Stone Pony.
This is one of the, again, you just look at the march with Germany, and it's, okay, let's get rid of these doctors. Let's make sure there's one authoritative source for the science. Let's use that science to other this group of people, in that case, the Jews. You have the exact same thing here where they silence doctors. So, no, these doctors are not allowed to be on these platforms. And then that allows you to other all the citizens who are unvaccinated. And then you end up with citizens in Canada who can't travel, who can't go into restaurants or businesses, and aren't even allowed to protest the removal of their rights. But it starts with, if you just trust government, for some reason, if you mistrust business, but you trust government, that's sort of a tenet of leftism, which I've never fully understood. For some reason, we believe that the human condition is inherently corrupt, especially as you become more powerful, that power corrupts. That law of humanity just ceases to exist when you're in government where there's no financial accountability. and a never-ending pension? I don't understand it. Maybe someone could explain it to me. You can comment below why people on the left are so quick to trust government and so quick to distrust business. The beauty of free enterprise is I don't have to trust business. Because there can be another business that tells me if a business is being dishonest. There can be competition. You cannot have that with the government. But it starts with, well, you know what? These doctors are spreading misinformation on Facebook and on YouTube. And so people say, well, how do we know it's misinformation? The CDC says so. Oh, okay, we get it. Dr. Robert Malone, not really an authoritative source, just one of the inventors of mRNA technology, banned from Twitter.
He doesn't know anything about
for criticizing the vaccines.
Invented it, but
banned from Twitter.
And having people come out and say that it's completely ridiculous that he was taken down.
Yeah.
People that are doctors along with him, and him saying that Fauci is a joke, essentially.
Yeah. And by the way, we have all references available at LidoScrider.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, though I would prefer you watch on Rumble or Mug Club, especially because we'll be going extended with Cal Rittenhouse.
Boom.
We do put the references in the pinned comment. And here's the thing. The White House itself even pressured tech companies. It doesn't require a conspiracy theory when they are doing it out in the open. They pressured the biggest companies in the world to remove COVID. And what is misinformation? Any information that goes against the science of the White House, of the Reich. They pressured publicly. It's not a dog whistle when you say it on television.
In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken, or we're working to take, I should say, from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation. We're working with doctors and medical professionals to connect to connected medical experts who are popular with their audiences with accurate information and boost trusted content. So we're helping get trusted content out there. So our hope is that all major tech platforms and all major news sources, for that matter, be responsible and be vigilant to ensure the American people have access to accurate information on something as significant as COVID-19. That certainly includes Spotify. So this disclaimer, it's a positive step, but we want every platform to continue doing more to call out mis and disinformation while also uplifting accurate information.
Now, let me get this straight. Dr. Malone is banned from Twitter, one of the creators of the mRNA technology. Yeah. These are fringe epidemiologists from Harvard, Stanford, Oxford. These doctors who were in California who were treating patients were banned for misinformation. And she is now calling on members of the media, trusted members of the media, to eliminate misinformation. Keep in mind that trusted members of the media include the man we just showed you, Jeffrey Toobin, who didn't accidentally leak dick pics.
Anyone unvaccinated would...
Sorry. It wasn't like someone hacked the cloud. He couldn't wait until the Zoom call was done.
He's like, I thought I muted.
That guy has a seat at the table. Dr. Malone doesn't.
Yeah.
Donald Trump off Twitter. Yeah. I'm still there.
Ayatollah Khomeini.
Fold a computer. Yeah. You know, he was a little excited. He's like, I'm going to stand up.
Yeah, you know exactly what it is. Like, do I look sexy? No, you don't. Oh, tell me how unsexy I am. Use a sticky note like the rest of us.
Well, do me a favor. Define misinformation, and she added disinformation.
Yes.
Help me understand what you're talking about here, because you're using terms that are not definable because you keep changing what that is.
So much of
so
it
that
they
you can
wanna
cover
use both terms.
Yeah, but it's so you can cover everything. That's why you fight against terms like hate speech.
Right.
Because it doesn't exist. Misinformation, disinformation, I get it. Define it now.
Well,
Doctors?
Here's the thing. If you want to say it's not an ideological issue, it's not a moral issue, I believe anytime you violate people's human rights, and by the way, I don't just mean civil rights, I mean human rights. There's a big difference. Human rights are based on natural rights. That means birth rights, right? This means unalienable rights, meaning God granted these rights. And the only purpose of government, the only purpose that they serve is to recognize these rights and to ensure that they are not infringed upon. Not that they grant these rights or take them away. The right to travel freely, the right to liberty, pursuit, the right to run your own business, provided you're not breaking the law, meaning laws that would prevent you from harming other people. These are birthrights. The right to see your family. These are human rights. They're not even just civil rights. This is worse than not allowing a group of people to vote. And I know we don't see it that way because it's not based on skin color, though there's an extreme vaccine hesitancy in the people of color community, Black American community. Let's just say, I don't know, I was about to say colored community because we had that NAACP thing on yesterday, so it's still in my head, but I can't say it.
No, we can't.
But the point is, we don't see it that way because, well, it's not a skin color thing. You are actually removing human rights. Let's just say this. Let's say that you removed the ability for a group of people, okay? You specified a group of people, and you said you can't travel. You said you can't run your business. We're going to shut it down. You can't go visit your families. You can't go to public schools. You can't go to restaurants. And instead of you just made them black. You just made them Jews. And I know you're going to say, well, one thing's immutable and you can choose to get a vaccine, but the government has no right to force you to get a vaccine. And the reason that they feel entitled to is because they've eliminated any voices of dissent. And so most people don't know. Most people don't know that they've been wrong on. Let me tell you what they've been wrong on, okay? Things like masks, vaccines, social distancing, the lab leak theory, kind of a big one there.
Hospitals being overrun.
China has a bit of an IOU.
Well, yeah,
might want to hang on to that one, lab leak.
I don't know, it's almost March and us all dying on Christmas.
Yeah, well, I'm still here, Joe.
That was a fun one.
Here's another one. If we're going to say it's not a moral issue, I can't think of anything in my lifetime that has been more of an immoral act committed against its own citizenry in this country than the lockdowns. And certainly not when you look at the lockdowns in other countries that are absolutely draconian. And I know that people use that term. In this case, it's entirely appropriate. Here's the thing. Not only is it immoral, and it could only be implemented immorally because people who spoke out at that time saying this is immoral or even saying that it won't work, scientists, were eliminated from the equation. Jeffrey Toobin, still on CNN. Now we know definitively Johns Hopkins, fringe, did a meta-analysis that it doesn't work. This is a quote from Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins, they're no Fauci, says, while this meta-analysis concludes that lockdowns have had little to no public health effects, they've imposed enormous economic and social costs where they have been adopted. And even the World Health Organization has now said that forced isolation and quarantine are ineffective and impractical.
We knew this. We knew this at the very beginning. We've known this for years, decades. We've known this. This is not new information, and that's why we were pissed off.
And it all starts with determining that the only experts are the ones who work for the government. That is a problem always. Whether it's the only experts to be trusted are the economists in the government. Are the public school officials, particularly in the federal government, the only experts in science work for the government. Take your pick. Have you seen the food pyramid lately?
You trust that?
We taught that to everyone in school, and we told kids that they would be worse off eating salmon and eggs than cereal all day.
Well, depends on the cereal, Stephen.
Now take that, add critical race theory, and COVID. Trust the experts, trust the science. What you really mean is be a lackey, be a patsy for the government. All right, since enough of you guys liked, and I want to see you smash that like button. Again, we have him on the air right now, I believe. Is he there? Can you bring him up so I can see him there? Tim the Tool Man. Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse, are you there, sir?
I'm here, Stephen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you at an airport right now?
I am in an airport right now.
Okay, well,
disguised as an Asian traveler?
Yes. You look like you look like a narc. Can you hear me well enough at the airport?
Yeah, I have my AirPods in. I can hear you, Stephen.
Oh, okay. Spared no expense. So he has AirPods in, but he's flying Spirit. Lovely.
No way.
No, I'm not gonna dox whichever airline you're flying with. Now, look, Kyle, you actually have some big news. I know that you were on Fox News saying, "Hey, there are people who are on notice, right? As far as slander, libel, and we did an Ash Wednesday with you. What's the word now? Have there been developments? Are you suing people who wrongfully called you a murderer?"
We are working with our team is working on sending out letters to people such would be.
I assume that last syllable was going to be Berg.
Well, Goldstein.
Yeah.
Well, he's at an airport. There's a good chance someone's just beating their child so loudly we lost connection.
Well, especially if it's spirits.
Two people could be fighting over masks outside of Auntie Anne's pretzels.
never know.
All right, okay, you're back. All right, you said Whoopi Gold. I assume the next was going to be Berg.
Schlager.
Cenk from the Young Turks.
Wait, so you're sending out letters to them. What are these letters saying? That you're suing them? Because you can't send out a cease and desist because, you know, I mean, that doesn't work. You're just going to sue them.
What was that, Steven? Sorry.
I said, what letters are you sending to them? Like, it's not like a UN Hans Bricks. Like, you're sending, what are these letters?
We're sending them a letter that they have to retract and apologize, or they're going to be paying up, and we're going to hold these people accountable for what they did to me, so nobody has to experience. And that's why we started the Media Accountability Project, tmap.org, where people can come and join our fight and donate and help us fight these lawsuits to hold these people accountable.
Well, I was going to say, you're going to need those donations because Cenk Uygur and Whoopi Goldberg don't have money.
What about Joy Behar?
Yeah, what about Joy Behar? Could you sue the View pool?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. The View is on the list. For everything they said about me, they called me a white supremacist, a murderer after being acquitted. It's just disgusting how they can do this to anybody, and there's going to be accountability for what they did.
Now, what would be sufficient as far as, you know, apology, retract? Like, what would you want to see for you to not, you know, take all of their belongings?
For this to not happen to any American in this entire ever again. I don't want to see anybody have to go through what I went through and be defamed the way I did, being deplatformed for the lies that they said. I don't want to see anybody have to go through that.
No, but I'm saying, but what would they have to do, like, as far as you say, retract it and apologize? Like, what would that look like? Would they have to march out on air? Would you write their apology? Or if they just say, like, all right, I'm sorry, is that enough?
And when they should donate to the fund, right? I mean, they really should.
Yes,
At the least.
Yeah, they should donate to the fund. Like, because you could have fun with it. Like, you could make them erect a statue in your honor.
I don't know if Joy Behar's going to erect anything.
What was that, Kyle?
There's also part 2 of the Media Accountability Project,
okay,
which is keeping the media held accountable by creating a hub for independent journalists such as Elijah Schaefer, Drew Hernandez, Nathan DeBrune, providing helping them with like training, equipment, gas masks, scholarships, so they can continue to grow in independent journalism, and also a hub for independent journalists to post content. Like on a cell phone, like you'll have on your screen, half will be what's really happening, their videos, the independent journalists, and then the other half will be what CNN or MSNBC is saying or ABC is saying, and people can be like, wait, that's not what's happening. I'm looking at the video right now and they're lying.
Right. Yeah, well, that's good. So that's the Journalism Accountability Project. I remember Walter Cronkite was never without his gas mask.
Never.
True.
Always
had.
Key
component to journalism. It's just that you listed among everything. It's like cameras, lights, gas masks, but we know exactly why. We know exactly why they're required.
Totally normal.
So
anyone has to wear one within 5 feet of Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's genetic, child. You wait until you're 75.
Where's my candy cane?
So, okay, Whoopi Goldberg, Cenk Uygur at the Young Turks. Is there anyone else? I mean, on your list, you know, I mean, you mustn't be afraid to dream bigger, love, because, you know, it's like...
Tiffany Cross. Tiffany Cross, and these news organizations that publish this, they'll also be held accountable. But Tiffany Cross called me a little white supremacist murderer after I was acquitted. These people can get away with it, but no, accountability is going to be coming. We are going to hold them accountable in a courtroom.
Okay, but you're starting with Whoopi Goldberg, which I like. When are these letters going to be sent out, and how long do they have to respond and apologize before you actually sue?
They're going to be sent out real soon. We're working on them right now, and I'm not sure how long they're going to have to reply, but they're going to be held accountable.
Yeah. What would you like to see Whoopi Goldberg's? I'll leave you with this because I know you got to go to a call. But like in your perfect world, your fantasy, how would you like Whoopi Goldberg to word it?
It's a great question.
Add the word child at the end.
I think I think she needs to go back and watch the entire trial in a day and then fix everything she said wrong, and then maybe I'll forgive her. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
Oh, come on. That's the Christian thing to do, is forgive her. You can forgive her. Look, you love the sinner, and you hate the obfuscation and lies. I believe it says
they
that
should
somewhere.
apologize. Stephen, they should apologize and commit to not let this ever happen again. That's what they have to do.
Yeah. Well, you weren't the first one. Obviously, it happened with like Nick Sandman, but you add falsely accusing someone of murder, and it's a little more severe. And you know how big of a deal it was for us. There was a weight lifted off the shoulders, all of us here watching. You were about to say
pissed.
something.
I was pissed, Kyle, because I couldn't be here. Everybody told me that you weren't coming in, and like, no, don't come into work today. Kyle's coming in. I was a little pissed off about that, but we were ecstatic that the verdict came back the way that it did. But then Stephen said something: you should never, for the rest of your life, you should only have to do what you want to do now. Like you've been through such kind of a difficult time. I love what you're doing with it, though. You're saying, look, it's not just happened to me; it's happened to other people, and it's going to happen again unless somebody stands up and not just sues these companies, but sues them and then holds them accountable. So I hope that this project works well. So that's a good use of that. So thanks. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, what I would like to see. Yes, it needs to change. But I'm just going to tell you this, as your non-lawyer, have some fun with it. You know, like again, like you could just ask Whoopi Goldberg for simple things, like come out, that she apologize, that she, like get on a weight loss plan, erect a statue in your honor, that you be allowed to play the xylophone on her replacement hip. Just things, there's no reason not to. You're holding the cards, kid. Where's the organization? Where's the place where people can donate to? Son of a bitch, we lost him again.
Oh, it's not Skype. Don't go to Skype.
We brought that up as an ad. Skype.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want you to have your information.
Right.
The
we don't
media
trust
accountability,
Zoom, because every time I go to Zoom, it's just tubing masturbating.
TMAP. The Media Accountability Project.
I thought you were giving me the Tubin nickname.
Oh, no.
He stands up, his dick's out. We're like, well, that's help this side.
Jeez.
What airport is he at?
That must be a layover.
It shows how
things have really changed at the Centurion Lounge.
Yeah, dude, people don't care anymore about anything.
No.
You got Kyle Rittenhouse talking 8 feet away from you, and you're like, no.
Hold on, time out. Can you look at the CNN thing, the lower third? Ukraine's been giving a new warning by the U.S. of an imminent Russian attack. Really? I think it happened a day and a half ago.
Yeah, hey, guys, they're coming.
No, they're already here,
no,
you morons.
Yeah. They're like Revere riding into battle, like, oh, sorry, excuse me, pushing away English troops. Like,
Hey, guys.
sorry, the British are coming, the British are coming.
Yeah,
One guy with his like cannonball legs on his head in a wrap. He's
Yeah.
like, we know it, too.
Yeah, we know. They shot the drummer boy yesterday.
Yes.
Which, by the way, terrible combat move.
Oh, my gosh.
Who sends in a drummer boy?
And a flute.
Well, you got to keep morale up.
Well, I don't think that's what they were doing.
Bagpipes.
They wanted to know where the other soldiers were.
Oh, well, the bagpipist was definitely in the most danger.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
sometimes
just annoying.
Because back then they couldn't have a radio, so some guy comes out in a flute and a drum. You're like, okay, maybe I can go with this. But when the Scottish, when they showed up and there's a bagpipe, like shoot him right away.
Do you actually know that every single soldier bagpipist was killed by friendly fire?
That, you know what? I did know that and I forgot it because it seemed
I know you
evident.
looked it up. But,
Well, I mean, the Scots weren't fighting when guns were invented, but hey, let's keep with the truth.
Yeah, then they all the remaining starved to death because their rations were haggis.
That's true. Nobody wants that.
It's like, there are kids in Africa who don't have to eat that.
I'd rather have my mutton than a beaten.
Yeah. I'd rather actually eat your mutton chops, your sideburns. I could probably put a little gravy on it. Wouldn't have to eat the haggis. Do you know what's in haggis?
Pretty monoc. That doesn't sound so bad.
Even starving kids in China look at it and say, I'd rather eat street food cooked in the sewers.
We're good at drinking.
We're
That's
pretty
about
good.
it.
Stab me first.
Yeah. Aim for the bagpipe.
Here's my music sack.
Yes.
My octopus pipe thing I made.
I know it's confusing with the plaid, like a Magic Eye poster, so I put a target on it. Aim for the bagpipe. Put me out of my misery. I don't want to have to eat the haggis.
It's 9 flutes in a sack. I don't know why. It's a monster.
I try and convince everyone that, like, I have control over it.
But
like I'm playing melody, but really, when the sound comes out, I'm as surprised as you. I had no idea.
And for some reason, when everybody dies, it's the song you'll hear.
It is the song you'll hear.
Amazing Grace on the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Amazing Grace on the bagpipes is like everything in the bagpipes. Have you ever heard top 40 of bagpipes?
It all sounds the same.
We're bringing you number 5, Amazing Grace.
Yes.
Number 3,
By popular request.
Amazing Grace.
Here on Casey Kasem's Bagpipe Songs.
Top 40 countdown.
We have number 4, Hey Baby. That's right.
It makes the same sound when you drop it as when you play it.
Yes.
Number 2, it's Raining Haggis.
It's Raining Haggis.
Holly.
S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y. No?
I do a great Billy Joel. I don't care what you say, cause it's my life. Just leave me alone.
The next song is written by Elton John, but I'm not singing it because of his lifestyle.
That's right. He had the bag, he had the pipe, but it didn't make the noise.
It wasn't the one
lice,
you wanted.
full of lice.
Yes.
The one you should never play unless you want to look the devil right in his eyes.
Yes. You ever looked the devil right in his eyes and asked him to sing Tiny Dancer? He doesn't. Even the devil doesn't like that little fruitcake. All right. Thank you, Kyle Rittenhouse. Tomorrow we'll have Jorge Masvidal on the show. We're going to play newest gender pronouns. This is a little bit of a hodgepodge today. I want you to smash that like button if you're on YouTube, because they're not going to be thrilled with this. I honestly, I'm always nervous when we talk about the COVID stuff and the science.
Yeah, you don't want to bring facts into it.
No, we don't want to bring
a lot of trouble.
Yeah, of course. I still am aiming to get removed from TikTok, though.
We'll work on it.
Xi Jinping, you and your tiny, festering pustule of a micro penis. We'll see you tomorrow. Right now, you two piss off.